It's time for Rebel Builds ARK Survival Evolved. This is my first video about ARK-based designs. Today is the first in a series about a tribe-shared crafting hall in the shape of a lighthouse. This video will be the introduction and the foundation of Stage 1. For my project, I use glass metal. But any standard size building materials will work. You could use thatch even if you wanted. I consider this construction either a mid-game or even an end-game level effort. I have a design to show what pieces we need for each stage of the construction. This is using a program called Fortify, which is actually designed for making fortifications in the game called Rust. I'm not promoting it or advertising it or anything. I just want you to know where I got this in this particular program that I drew my design on. And of course I'm using paint to show it to you. So over here on the right hand side is the land entrance. It's longer than the exit door on the other side. On the other side to the left here is the water entrance. Now this particular setup, just for the foundation, will take 40 square foundations and 48 triangle foundations with 2 ramps on either side for the entrances, which add up to 4 ramps total. I consider the lighthouse to be split up into 3 major groups of floors. We have the base, and then we have the middle, which is called the spindle, which is a skinny central tower, and then the top that will expand out and flower out to hold the replicator, which is a gigantic glowing globe that looks like the searchlight on a lighthouse. Now each section is 3 double high walled floors, which means that the lighthouse is a total of 18 walls up from the ground, and we'll be starting naturally with this base. Switching back to the game now, we're going to go ahead outside where I have my building materials. Just to be on the safe side, in case anything steps over my spiky fence, which has happened, I'm going to go and pull out a couple of saber-tooths to help protect me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a group called House Guard so that I can call them to attack if I need them to, without calling all of my other animals to attack. So if I do a whistle to attack something, the House Guard will come. So I've already gotten a start on my foundation. It's 2 foundations in, and as you can see, I've double stacked my foundation. This is not normally my preference. The reason why this is not my preference is because, well, it adds a lot of lag, and the other reason is because basically things sink through it. However, the problem is that this grass is actually really long and it comes through the foundation. I do have another idea, which could be a false floor. We could put in a basement stairs and set up our foundation and then use walls and ceiling tiles instead. I don't know if the walls and ceiling tiles would be more stable than a foundation, but I do know that they wouldn't have as much solidity. So I'm going to stick with stacking my foundations. So the design calls for 40 square foundations and 48 triangle foundations. And I'll just basically grab what's here. Looking at the picture, we have a porch of two foundations in. The reason why is because when the doors open, they cover up the entire first foundation and push you off. So this gives you a place to stand to open the doors so that you won't get knocked off of your porch when you enter. So after that, we have just 2 more foundations deep. Well, 1 foundation deep. For a total of 3 foundations from the ramp. 1, 2, and 3. After we have the entranceway, we have the actual room, which is another 4 foundations. But I'm going to work on only the outer ring. So that would be 2 more foundations. And then I'll start on the circle, which would be 3 triangles. 1, 2, and 3 at a slant. And then 2 foundations and 3 triangles. And I'll continue on this until I've got the entire outer ring. Now that I've completed the outer ring, I'll work on the inner ring, which is a slightly different pattern. 2 square foundations and only 1 triangle foundation. In the end, there's still 4 pieces on each part of the ring. 4 square foundations, 4 triangle foundations. They just portion themselves out differently along the 2 rings. So 2 square and 3 triangle, or 1 triangle. Let's do that again. 2 square and 1 triangle. And there's the complete outer ring. Inner ring, sorry. Inner ring. The inner ring of the planets. Okay, yeah, I got that out. Okay, so the middle part is all triangles. We're probably going to need more than what I'm carrying. I can't remember offhand how many it is, but I'll just grab another at least. Well, I'll take that stack of 8. Nope, needed just a few more. So the last thing that I need to work on is the front entrance, which is directly opposite the back entrance, or that back exit, which is right here. Now looking at my diagram again, the front entrance extends out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foundations out from the actual building. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's pretty close to my fencing there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because I'm making this double high, I'm not adding my ramps yet on this end. And that's the complete foundation. Next, after this, if you are double stacking for whatever reason for terrain, be sure to do your painting ahead of time on the bottom foundation before you track in your top foundation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish painting my foundation, my bottom foundation, and stack up the second foundation, and then we'll get back to it. But I'll take a break for now because there's no point in boring you while I lay out the exact same pattern in a row. Welcome back from my break. Now that I've finished setting up and painting the second level of my foundation, I want to go over it now that it's daylight and double check that it's okay. I did set it up as a basement, as an underground basement. Even though a foundation has 15,000 health and a wall only has 10,000 health, it should still be fine. I will be walling in the entire enclosure, so the likelihood of anything attacking my foundations anytime soon is pretty low. You may take the option of adding ramps on the sides of your entrances, of your porch entrances as well. Now we will have another bump right here. I set up these ceiling tiles so that they were even all the way around the room itself, but that makes it bump up over the foundation. When I put my walls down, I have some scaffolding walls I need to put down. In our next stage, stage 1, when I do that, I'm going to need to pick these up, put the walls down, and then put these down again. And that's everything for the preview and the introduction of the lighthouse. I hope that you find this tutorial helpful, and I'll see you next time. Hello everyone, Rebelweasel here with Curiosity Gameplay. This is a second version of the Lighthouse Crafthall, and this may seem a little confusing to you at first, but basically what happened was I was still very new to recording, and still am actually, and I started and worked on the Lighthouse Crafthall about 8 times. And I had multiple recordings of working at different stages of the Lighthouse Crafthall, and unfortunately what happened was I lost part of it and mixed up parts of it and erased parts of it, so I have to make the best of what I can. The very first version of the Lighthouse Crafthall on stage 1, where I built the bottom base part, unfortunately had one section that was actually wrong, and that section, one moment, that section I'll show you right now was the back door. On the original version of the video, the back door didn't jut out one wall like it does now. It was flush with the round part of the building, and unfortunately that actually made more problems than solutions. So I found that it was easier to give ourselves this little walk space here rather than keep the doorway flush. So that's a major version change on what we did as far as the first version, between the first version and the second version of the Lighthouse Crafthall. The second difference is that instead of making my foundation stacked double high in order to hide the grass that comes through, what I did was I made a basement floor, and as you can see I've made a little group recreation area along with a shower and bath facility and a bathroom, a toilet room. So, and a bar, I've started working on it. This is all just kind of up in the air and being worked on currently. So that's the difference. I didn't have stacked foundations. Instead, this time around, I went with the basement. Other changes that you'll notice is that in my original recording, I may or may not explain the 3 different parts of the lighthouse. The first part is the base, and that's the big wide section where the industrial forge fits in. The second part I call the spindle. That's the skinny tower with small crafting rooms that you go through on your way to the top. And then of course the top is the top. That's the searchlight version of the lighthouse. As a finished version, just as a quick run through tour, what you're going to get is the land entranceway leading to your industrial forge and your industrial grinder. Your second floor, if I can get the text to go away, will be the armory. Here, let's do that. Your second floor will be the armory, in which you'll have crafting benches that specifically are for making weapons and armor. as well as storage for weapons, armor, and ammo. Your third floor would be storage. Currently I just have 2 vaults for storage for mats and a box that's storage for building supplies. But later on you can expect to use dedicated storage in this space. And then finally you reach the spindle, and you have a walkway around the spindle in which you could set up turrets, as well as a front lookout room. You could open these windows and your telescope will work through the windows. So for instance, I can look at this raptor right now with my telescope and it'll tell me what level he is and such. However, if I close this window, it would pretty much just tell me there's a window. Nope, it works through the window. Never mind. I guess this spyglass works. Anyway, I'm using it for holding tributes or artifacts. Finally, the center of the spindle, I have a barracks room. And then this floor is castles, keep, and fortresses, crafting stations. Floor 6 is Echo RP mod, crafting stations. And of course you can set this up however you want, but you have these extra floors. The second to last floor is all of my blueprint storage, which is convenient because it's close to the replicator, which acts as a searchlight for the lighthouse version. So this is the finished work of what you should expect. And with that said, let's get down to business. There is one final piece that I forgot to mention about this, which is that in my re-recording of my re-recording of my re-recording of doing the lighthouse, I unfortunately ended up with missing the entire spindle part. So the best that I can suggest is, let me give you a quick tour. We've got a door on this side and a door on this side that leads up to a small house here. And you'll be able to see it when I go through and I change the textures and the transparencies, but it won't be a walkthrough of how I set up this whole section, unfortunately. So hopefully you'll be able to follow through with what's been done.